Yeah, it's nice. It wasn't necessarily a priority to get something out of the way because of that. If I didn't want to be here, I would have rode into the market and seen what would have went down. But the fact that I came to a team that I fell in love with, and financially it worked out, and let's go.
David Freese, his words earlier this afternoon after the announcement was made. Jordy Mercer takes strike one from Doug Fister, and General Manager Neal Huntington, who followed that up with a press conference of his own, talking about the makings of this move. But you don't normally do this, Neal, during the season. Why is this different?
Well, in this situation, it just made sense. David Freese has been great for us on and off the field. He wants to be here. His teammates think the world of him. He brings leadership qualities. He brings versatility for Clint. He helps us win games. Yeah, in a perfect world, you don't do this during the season. You don't want it to be a distraction, whether it be for the player you're negotiating with or for the other players around him. But in this situation, we felt like it was the right fit, the right time, and ideally won't be a distraction for others or for David.
You're talking to Jordy Mercer, Neal, in the clubhouse after David Freese spoke. Went over and asked him and a couple other guys about it. And first words, and Bob and I have talked about this since we really got to know Freese also. The word professionalism comes up time and time again with this guy.
Absolutely. We did our due diligence as we talked about adding him in March when it looked like he could be a fit for us. And that was the word we came across with his time in Anaheim, with his time in St. Louis, and didn't have a great year last year in Anaheim, but the people that were around him spoke highly of him and said that he could help us on the field, but also the leadership around. Still a relatively young club, but he's a grown man. He's been through some great times, obviously in the playoffs with the Cardinals. He's been with some really good Cardinal teams, but he's also had some challenges, and that's helped him grow, and he was ready to come in, and he accepted the role coming in the door in March. He understands what we're looking to do as we go forward. He just wants to be here and help a group of guys win, and he cares about this group. They care about him, and again, that's why we thought it was the right time and the right fit.
How much goes into when you're trying to think about in the offseason, do I want to get this guy, will we make this guy an offer? The fact that they play in winning organizations, like Freese coming from postseason success that he had with the Cardinals. I mean, that's got to weigh. Well, you just mentioned it, so I know it weighs some. But how much do you, how much weight do you give that when you're talking to a player, thinking about trying to bring him into the organization?
Yeah, you're looking at a fit. We've got a culture that Clint Hurdle and our staff and our players deserve a ton of credit for creating and now cultivating and continuing as we go forward. And so David fit in that culture. The fact that he'd been around a winning environment absolutely helps, because we've done some good things, but we've got work to do, and we've got some ground to cover. And this is a guy that's been there, that's done that, that's had huge at-bats and huge hits, has made some huge plays in some of the biggest games in our season, in our postseason. And that always helps, especially as we continue to transition young players into this lineup and onto this team. To have a guy that's been there and done that on the field with them helps. It's one thing to have it on your coaching staff. It's another thing to have it in your special assistant group or in your minor league coaches or development staff. But to have a player that's been there and done that and can still play, that's the biggest part of this, is he can still play. And that's our expectation going forward, is he's still going to be a good player. He's going to help us win games, but he's also going to help this group continue to move forward.
And with 2 outs, and Fister, as always, moving quickly. Josh Harrison at the plate. We're going to thank Neal Huntington. Neal, thanks for the quick work.
Wasn't as much fun as we normally have.
Thanks, Neal.
Thanks,
appreciate it. Congratulations.
Bye-bye.
That's Doug Fister for you.
There's some bees back here.
Pirates and the Astros, 0-0 through 3.